Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing, my Jets family? How are we feeling on this Victory Monday? How are we feeling after beating the Buffalo freaking Bills? Man, I'm trying to bring the kind of I'm still hyped. I mean, I know you are too. I'm still fucking hyped, man. I'm still woke up this morning happy, freaking had a great day just thinking how we beat the Buffalo freaking Bills. And I feel great right now. But man, I think you guys agree that feeling after the game was like cloud fucking nine. Like I'm gonna show you guys, and I wanted to share that with you. So I'm gonna play a quick video if you guys, I don't know if you saw on my page of how I reacted and how I felt right after the game. Do want to give warning there are some expletives because I was, for lack of word, really fucking excited. And we all should be really fucking excited. So I want to play it for you. I get a little crazy, get a little nuts. I bring up some stats because I'm just so fucking hyped. So let me play that for you guys now. And technology should work for me, hopefully. We got right. Here we go. Okay, awesome. And here we go. So this was me after the game.
Oh my God! The Jets fucking won, baby! Oh, we beat the fucking Buffalo Bills! Guys, Zach Wilson had a great game. No mistakes. Played great football. The defense was freaking awesome. They were all over Josh Allen. Oh, man. Salah's hyped. Oh, I fucking love it, guys. This is huge. We beat the Buffalo Bills. They have the best defense in football. One of the best offenses in football. If we can beat the Buffalo Bills, we can beat anybody. We freaking won, baby. Yeah, Zach looked good. Sauce, man. The freaking pass rush.
I was just so hyped. I wanted to say everybody.
Freaking awesome, man.
Everybody.
E-T-S. Jets. Oh, my God. Oh, my.
So I don't know if you guys got a chance to see that, and I got to figure out how to end the screen share. Here we go. I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to see that, but I was fucking hyped. Matthias, oh boy, dare I say, bro, don't even dare. It's not a dare at this point. We're 6-3. You remember my game last week? My fun game was we're 5-3. If we double that, we're 10-6. Well, fuck, let's double 6-3, guys. If we double 6-3, we got 12. Like, we all thought double-digit wins was being cocky. Right? I mean, we had 4 wins last year. Double-digit wins was fucking cocky, right? Like, I thought it. I was like, man, you guys remember, that was my take. I was like, man, this team can do that. Like Matthias is saying, 4 more freaking wins, baby. I was thinking, like, yeah, this team can do that. But, like we pointed out, and I didn't think of it at the time, but I noticed, like, we realized made sense just because not this week, but last week, Zach Wilson as a rookie quarterback will have good games and bad games. He fucking lit it up this week, guys. He was freaking awesome. He was awesome against literally the best, right? The best overall defense in the entire freaking NFL. But, guys, that hype, like, that was how I felt. I felt more hype in that game at the end than I'd felt in any other game. And I realized it's because it's the Bills. It's the fucking Buffalo Bills. They are one of the best teams in football. They have one of the best passing offenses in the entire game. Their running game isn't highly ranked, but that's because they throw so freaking much. They have a really pretty good running game too. Our defense shut them down. Our defense, legit, and this is what hyped me the most too, and this is why I think we were all so excited. Nobody could say the Jets fell into that win, right? Nobody could say the Jets got lucky. They can't say that fucking shit. Man, if anything, the sky cam almost fell on us. They killed our momentum. If anything, things were working against us, and in spite of that, the Jets freaking brought it, baby. Like, I'm getting hyped just thinking about it again. Like, I'm feeling it like in that video. I just wanted to say everybody. I'm like, Sauce and Zach. It was everybody. The whole team brought it. But, man, our defense against Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And again, you watched the game. We all did. You can't say Josh Allen played bad. He didn't. He played well or tried to play well. The Jets defense shut him down. The pass rush was freaking relentless. Our guys were all over the place. Quinnen was feasting. Huff was feasting. Lawson was feasting. It sucks about Rankins. I don't know if you guys heard. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. It sucks. But he was feasting. Everybody was feasting. We saw that in the Patriots game. And that was one thing, even though we lost. Remember, I was saying I was so hyped about that. Everyone was feasting. Man, the pass rush was there and the corners were shut down. I mean, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed are the best cornerback duo in the entire NFL. They are both. We were saying they're both top 10. You know what? No, that's actually wrong. They're top 5. Let's be honest here. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed are 2 corners that are in the top 5. 2 of the 5 are on ours. The Jets, baby. We have the best corner duo. Again, Josh Allen, the Bills, didn't play bad. You can't say the Bills had a bad game or they had an off day or the Jets fell into this win. No. And that's what, again, hyped me the most. You can't come at that. If you do, you're just an asshole. And you can say that to anybody out there. If they come at it that way, they're just an asshole. The Jets shut the Bills down. We came in. And the defense, guys, Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And our defense didn't allow him to throw a touchdown. Picked him off twice. Should have been 3. Should have been 3 picks. Held him to an under 50 rating. If Zach would have done that, we would have ripped his ass apart. Josh Allen did that against our defense. So I forgot who it was. I think it was DJ Reed. They asked him at the end of the game if he thought the Jets defense was the best in the NFL. He said, yeah. He joked. He's like, I haven't watched the film on anybody, but he said, I bet we're the best or we're close to the best. And you know what? I don't know any other team that did that to Josh Allen. I know teams that slowed him down. He had at least a touchdown. They didn't do that. We legit shut his ass out. Stephon Diggs went against Sauce Gardner just like Jamar Chase. He beat him once, right? He beat him once right in the beginning of the game. And Sauce is like, I got your ass from here on out, buddy. And he did. Sauce and DJ were locked down. If you guys saw that pass breakup, remember at the end of the game, that crucial holy shit Hail Mary by the freaking Bills, by Josh Allen, DJ Reed with the pass breakup. Man, those 2 guys, I can't wait to talk about that. But I appreciate all you guys out there. I see your guys' comments. Ryder points out best win in years, now on to the Pats. And that's the mentality, man. And you remember, I've been talking about it for weeks. That's what I love. Every win the Jets and Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh have had, Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson and anyone interviewed has consistently said it's about the next game. It's about who we play next. They pointed out it was about the Bills. This week they said it's about the bye and getting onto the Pats. They're always ready for the next game. They're ready for the next win. And that's what it takes. We're 6-3. Like, give that a second, right? Like, take a breath. Give that a second to sink in. The New York Jets are 6-3. I mean, guys, you remember the last time we were like this. I mean, we had the year with Favre, right? That didn't work out, but we have playoff runs after that. Before that with Sanchez. We haven't been this good in a while. And again, you double that, we have 12 wins. That's double-digit wins. And Jeff points out got lucky, which we didn't do. That's the whole point. Jets did not get lucky. And exactly got lucky without AVT and Brees. I mean, we talked about that just the other week. That was like, it's beyond a gut punch. That was like, I was joking. That was like they gut punched you. They stepped on your foot. They like chopped your head off at the end. Like, I can take my headphone out now. I had that in before because I was trying to hear something. But man, I was trying to hear the video before. I want to make sure it was working for you guys. Ryder's saying I'll be pulling for the Vikings next week. That's freaking exciting, man. It's absolutely exciting. But yeah, man, without AVT and Brees, that's huge. AVT was just going back to Jeff's comment. AVT block was freaking. So AVT being out is tough. It's really, really freaking rough right now, man. And with Brees being out, yeah. So I think I was going to play something else for you guys. I'm just going to pop this in quick. I was trying to remember. Think of something else I wanted to. Well, we'll see. But man, Jeff pointing out Allen was being evaluated for an elbow issue. It's crazy. I mean, the Jets were all over him. Dude, the Jets were all over Allen. We absolutely won that game. You can't argue that. You can't argue, like we were saying, the Jets came out and absolutely dominated. And it was freaking awesome. It was so awesome, you guys. It felt great. So we talked about the Jets defense came in, like you guys are saying. Yo, Jets mess. Sup, bro? Sup, you man? Yo, appreciate you, bro. So you guys, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know in the comments. But man, our defense came in. And so they came to us. Let's remember that. It's in MetLife. They came to us. They came in, and our defense shut them down. Again, like we were saying, they can't come out and say, we got lucky, or that Josh Allen tried. Freaking that interception at the beginning of the game, you guys. How huge was that? Think about momentum and how big momentum changing is, right? Everyone, I know some people were trying to play out that Braden Mann might have been kicking an onside kick. I don't know what you said. I said it looked like he botched that shit. Like it totally looked like he kicked the freaking stand or whatever. Like he kicked it and it didn't go well. So I do not think that was an onside kick. I honestly think that was a mistake. He made a mistake. And I don't know if you guys had heard anything otherwise, but I think he made a mistake. And right after that, Josh Allen gets a 40-yard pass. I mean, talk about momentum killer. Like, right? Talk about, is this a setup for what this game is going to be? And then boom, Jordan Whitehead with the INT. So man, their defense was great. But if we're going to give some shout outs, you got to give shout outs to Jordan Whitehead. Right? Jordan Whitehead had 2 PDs in that game. He almost had 2 interceptions, right? Jordan Whitehead was freaking awesome. He had that great interception, and that first interception was really key. Because like we just talk about momentum killer, right? Botched the kickoff, immediate 40-yard pass. I know you guys probably felt it too, right? Those immediate seconds. That was like, oh, shit. Like, I was like, oh, man, is this just setting up for – I didn't want to say it. I didn't even want to think it. It wasn't, and that could be a major factor for it. We saw just the other week how the other way around, JFM's roughing the passer was a massive momentum changer, not going in 17-3, but now 10-6. And we got the ball back in the second half. So that was absolutely huge in this game. Absolutely lose. Sherb is excited. Let's freaking go, man. Let's freaking go, Jets. Bro, I'm so hyped. I was playing my hype video before. Man, if you guys hadn't seen it, you guys tuning in now, I was cloud freaking 9. It's on my YouTube page. I was going crazy. Just thinking again, this is the Buffalo Bills. This is the best, arguably the best team in football. Easily one of the best defenses. And that's one thing we have to talk about with Zach Wilson. So let's pivot a little bit. Talk about Mr. Zach Wilson. Zach's been getting a little flack for over the weeks being that game manager, making mistakes last week. He's been playing against top secondaries. We have to remember that. And people point out, and I'm not saying it 100% is a QB metric of measuring, but people point out that wins is not a QB metric. And yeah, it's hard to measure something by wins, but if you think about it, isn't wins the only thing that matters? Right? If you make your way to the playoffs and you win the Super Bowl, is anybody saying he only threw for 3,000 yards that year when he's hoisting the Lombardi up in the air? No one's saying that. So again, I'm not saying it's like, it's if you want to look at numbers, what the guy's doing, we've talked about Zach, that makes 100% sense. But guys, this season since coming back, Zach Wilson is 5-1 against top defenses and top secondaries. And that's a legit fact. We have to look at these teams we played. Remember, during those game manager weeks people talked about, which, we talked about, again, just playing smart football against good defenses while he's trying to learn. But people labeling him in a game manager, Saleh pointed out that literally in those weeks that he was constantly under pressure, which he was, and the coverage was very sticky. There was no one open. We saw the Patriots week, and we talked about that. That was, okay, I've been playing nothing but top defenses. I want to make shit happen. I think that's what went through Zach's mind. I haven't been able to make shit happen. I want to make shit happen, and shit backfired. That's really the best way to think about it. Like, right? He played all these great defense, the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Patriots. Every team he's played, literally every team, is a top defense with a top secondary. Saleh pointed that out. Everyone kept pointing that out, but it didn't matter. He was not putting up good enough yardage. So he tried last week. That was the big game, and it didn't work. Well, this week, he was better than Josh Allen. And that begs the question. We would have been consistently saying that the Bills have the best defense in the NFL, right? Well, our defense held again Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in football, to only I think it's like a 50-something% completion percentage, to barely over 200 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Could have been a third. Literally shut him out. Couldn't throw a touchdown. Zach Wilson had an infinitely better day against their defense. So that begs the question. If their defense is considered the best in the NFL, I think DJ Reed might be onto something. Our defense can be the best defense in the NFL. That is a damn fact. So appreciate all you guys' comments. Italy, my man Italy, you guys know I do my show with him if you haven't seen it. I do a great freaking awesome show on Sundays with him and my guy Show from the Jet Show. It's a freaking awesome time. We do post-game. I was hyped then. We were talking and stuff. So appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you out there. Sure points out Zach Wilson uses this game as a blueprint and the Jets will make the playoffs. Big plays will come and do. And you guys remember, I put we talked about it. I had that episode just the other week. I called it A Conversation About Zach Wilson. And I knew we were going to talk a lot about him. And what did we talk for like an hour and a half? I knew we were going to talk a lot about him. So I was like, I'm going to call it a conversation, I think, about Zach Wilson. But I even put my huge take out on Twitter because I wanted people to see it. And it was a lot. And I was like, I can't type this in one tweet. So I put it out in a message and you guys saw. And it was basically that, right? That he wasn't a game manager. He was playing top defenses. Last week, he tried to make things happen, but we talked about the positive of that. When your quarterback is playing well and looking good, don't you want him to be confident? Don't you want him to believe in himself? You remember that first game when he came out? Remember at the end of the game where the Jets had to get a game-winning drive? And I think it was, I feel bad, I don't want to talk about Brees. I'm so upset. We all are. But I think it was Brees Hall. I forgot who it was. They interviewed someone at the end of the game, and they asked him what Zach said in the huddle, and he said, let's get the fucking touchdown. Like, that's what Zach said. He got the team hyped up. He believes in himself. And we saw that last week. We saw him continue to believe in himself and continue to not make the same mistake, but bad mistakes. Right? Bad mistakes that looked really bad. And we were like, the fuck you thinking, bro? Like, what the fuck are you thinking? We challenged him to learn, and he clearly is. He's a young kid. Phil Simms pointed out in the beginning of the game. Before the Bills game even started, he said, Jet fans, my message to you is remember that Zach Wilson is in his 19th ever NFL game. That is my message to you. And that's what I pointed out just the other week, right? 18th ever NFL game. There's going to be good. There's going to be bad. We talked about, we made the assumption that because the team was great around him, because everyone was doing so well, that he would just magically become great. But we had to take a second and realize the reality that everyone progresses at their own rates and excels or decels at their own rates. And there's going to be learning curves. He made some mistakes last week. He clearly learned from them this week. He went against a better defense and he played clean football. He played clean football and he did something that Josh Allen did not do. Zach Wilson threw for a touchdown. And I love that sentence. Can we take a second and just love in that sentence for a second? That Zach Wilson did something that Josh Allen didn't. Zach Wilson threw for a touchdown. That's a compliment to Zach Wilson and a compliment to our amazing top defense. So I love that sentence. I just want to point that out. So Ryder points out, like Al Davis said, just win. Yeah, man. I mean, again, you can definitely argue that wins is not a metric to measure QBs. You want to look at their passer ratings and what they do, like we've talked about with Zach, and bad decisions and how they fall out of the pocket and the kind of reads they go through and the progressions they make and how there's so many things you can measure them on. But wins, in the end of the day, it's all that matters, right? At the end of the day, you win. We talked about this the other week, right? You can fall ass backward into half your wins and make the playoffs. And once you make the playoffs, it doesn't matter anymore. If you win and continue to win and you win the Super Bowl, nobody is saying that. If they are, they're just haters, right? They're just haters because you won the freaking Super Bowl. So wins matter. And Zach Wilson is 5-1 with this team against quality NFL defenses and quality NFL secondaries. And we have to remember that fact because we can't just say he's winning these chump games. Look at all those teams, right? Broncos, everybody listed all out. Quality top defenses, quality top secondaries. Just a fact. So appreciate you, Ant. Appreciate you, my brother. As you guys know, I try to, come, excuse me. I try to do as much as, the greats, the awesomes out there if I've had on the show, like Richie from Jets Media and Matt O'Leary. Love those guys. Green Bean, amazing fans. But it is tough for me with my work and everything. So I try to bring you guys as much as I can when I can. So if you can, please subscribe, or you could let your buddies know and bring them in. It'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. I love chatting with you guys. And man, we're all on cloud nine, and we have every freaking right to be. We have every right to feel this way. Don't let anybody bring you down because they can't make shit up. Like the Jets fell into this, or things went against us. Let's talk about the camera for a second, right? The Jets have momentum going. Shit is going right. And the camera falls. I mean, that shit was like, it felt like something out of a movie. Like I was joking yesterday with Italy Jet. If you're still here, man, we were joking about it. That, excuse me, I was saying that I was thinking, because the camera's got that long metal wire. I was thinking I was worried like a horror movie that it was just going to like fly through the field. And shout out to Show, bro. Show's like, is that Josh Allen's torso on center field? Oh man, like I was like, shit, like this could be a horror movie. Because that thing is held up by a thick ass metal cable. I'm like, oh man. Like even Sauce, when they interviewed him after the game, he's like, when he was warming up on the sideline, he said, when they called it for a little bit to fix it, he's warming up on the sideline. He said they were moving it around. He legit thought it was going to fall on his head. Like, that's not good. So that could have killed our momentum. So Mo points out, shout out to Mo, a win is a win. It is. A win is a win. That's a fact. A win is a win, but we talked about it those weeks when people could give us shit. What I love is we don't have to say a win is a win. We freaking owned the Buffalo Bills. Again, what we did to Josh Allen, I don't know anyone else. Can you tell me that held Josh Allen to just 200 yards, no touchdowns, picked him off twice, and it really should have been 3. So let's say they picked him off 3 because it really should have been 3. I don't know anyone else who's done that. So they say they have the best defense. I kind of have to go with DJ Reed on this one. I kind of have to give DJ Reed the Jets have the best defense in the NFL. So yeah, totally, Mo. A win's a win. A win is a win, but we don't have to say that. We shut out the Buffalo offense. And again, the defense, I pointed it out before the game. I knew, like last week, Zach Wilson's a young quarterback, and I love all you guys out there, but you know how we are. We, get a little nuts, with the wins, and we saw a lot of people, saying, "Oh, Zach could be a bust, Zach this," when really he's just starting his career. So I felt compelled to point out before the game that Zach Wilson and the Jets offense is playing against the best, not the second best, the overall best defense in the entire NFL. Just to remind everybody that, again, Zach Wilson is playing against the best defense in the entire NFL. And the pass rush tried to get to him. And I do have to say, I'm still not sold on Cedric Ogbuehi, if I may say that. Cedric Ogbuehi, yes, he was going against Von Miller. Yes, I get that. So you have to take what he did with a grain of salt. He's going against one of the best pass rushers to ever play the game. So I get that. But he literally let him through at least, it was rough to watch. I'm still not sold on Ogbuehi, but hell, we know Max Mitchell and George Fant should be coming back soon. We don't exactly know when, but they will be coming back soon. So, excuse me. So, other than that, and you guys know how I feel like Laken Tomlinson is not playing bad. I just want to state that for the record, because that's a fact. Laken Tomlinson is not playing bad. But he's not playing like a Pro Bowler. And we paid him to be a Pro Bowler. So we talked about the brilliance of Joe Douglas. He built he's the master of contracts. He's just the master of, that should be his title. He should get a lot of titles, but one should be the master of contracts. He builds outs like, I don't even know how he builds these outs. He pays these guys, but then after a year or two can go later. He somehow paid Laken and can somehow get out of it next year. So I'm not saying I 100% want that, but let's remember, Mo points out that's a big glass of water. Yeah, I figure I'll be thirsty throughout the show. Talking for an hour stuff, starts to get a little dry. I figure I need some water. So want to make sure I'm hydrated. It is a big glass of water. That is a fact. It is a very, very large glass of water. Could you imagine if it was like a large glass of vodka? Like that would be like freaking hysterical. Like an hour in or so, you guys see me here and we're just like, well, those Jets. Nothing like a good glass of water. Feel like an infomercial. Water. So, man, it's been freaking awesome. And like we said, you can't say it's just a win because our team's been good. And our offense, for example, seeing what you guys put out here. I appreciate all your guys' comments. Our offense, for example, went against the best overall defense in the NFL, like we were just saying. So I pointed that out to just remind everybody that this is what Zach Wilson is doing. Well, he played well. Zach Wilson played smart football like he was those other weeks, but he did like we said, and he combined it with the good of last week, and he made big throws, but smart throws. The only stupid throw was that little bit high ball to Denzel Mims, but man, Denzel Mims he went up and got that shit. Like, even though he didn't catch it, he made sure no one else was getting it. So to give Denzel Mims some kudos for a second and to pivot on that and talk about the wide receiver situation, love to hear if you guys agree or what you guys think on this. But we know Elijah Moore wants a trade. Right? We know that this guy he claims he's happy with the Jets because obviously the trade deadline is passed. So he claims he's happy with the Jets now. He's happy with the whole situation. He wants to be here. But we know the whole truth. I mean, he was told to go home and cool down, and instead he decided to ask for a trade, not through the front office and the proper channels like Denzel Mims did, but through social media. So that was interesting. But we know, and I pointed this out just a few weeks ago, that it was just a few weeks ago when Zach came back. It seemed clearly obvious to me that the Jets favored bigger bodied receivers on the outside in the formations that they ran. And it made sense and it looked that way. We predominantly saw Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis on the outside for the Jets. And we talked about, and I joked with you guys as well, if you remember, that I thought it was such a freaking joke that they even said Corey Davis was on the trading block, that people were even saying that. I'm like, Corey Davis is a crucial part of this offense. He's not the wide receiver one. That's Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is a beautiful wide receiver one. Like, beautiful wide receiver one. But Corey Davis is an integral part of this offense, and his butt wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't on any trade block. He's a crucial part of this offense. And he's, when he comes back, going to be a part of it. But him and Garrett showed that the Jets prefer bigger body receivers on the outside. And not saying Elijah Moore, like we talked about, not saying Elijah Moore can't play on the outside. But if you're going to compare him to Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson, not only are they just as fast and just as athletic, they can make much bigger, higher catches, and their catch radius is like almost double, pretty much. Let's be honest. I mean, we call a spade here. Excuse me. So we thought, why don't we see Elijah Moore in the slot more? And we talked about that. We talked about how we were seeing Braxton Berrios a lot prior to this week, and I do want to address that. So prior to this Bills game, before the Bills game, we were seeing a lot of Braxton Berrios in the slot. And I liked that for the reasons we talked about, right? Braxton Berrios is the most, like, he's the epitome of team first guy, put the team on your back, always does what's right. Like we talked about it in the offseason, right? He was wearing the shirt, Zach is good. Zach was wearing the shirt, the Braxton Berrios is good. They're chilling together. He's got the perfect attitude. He's the locker room guy. He'll run the kickoffs back. He'll do whatever you ask of him. So from him and a guy that Elijah Moore on social media says, I want the trade. Berrios is playing well. He was playing well. He looked good in the slot, and he's got great chemistry with Zach. So my answer, and you guys remember, was if they like him over Moore in the slot, then I'm freaking cool with it. Again, a guy that is the epitome of a team-first guy, like a guy like Corbett that will do anything for the team. I was cool with it. But this week, forward, this week to the Bills, we saw more Elijah Moore. And this is what's so freaking funny, you guys. I got to talk about this with you guys because this shit cracked me the fuck up. Like, this is just too much. So we saw a good amount of Elijah Moore. You guys saw him out there. He was on the field. He was lined up in the slot and in the secondary receiver spot. He was lined up multiple places. He still didn't get any targets. Like, Elijah Moore was legit on the field. He was there a good amount. He still saw no targets. There was one play. I don't know if you guys remember this one. This had me like on the floor. There was one play. I don't know if you remember where Elijah Moore did like a, what do you call it? Like a double out and ran around like before the play. He ran around Zach Wilson. And then when Zach hiked the ball, he still never looked Elijah's way. Like, it was the funniest fucking thing. Like, before the snap, pre-snap, they audibled and Moore ran around Zach. And then Zach hiked it and never looked at Moore. Like, he's like, fuck you, dude. It was crazy. He was on the field. We legit saw him a good amount. He still got no targets. So you know what? Corey Davis will be back soon. And man, let's talk about Denzel Mims for a second. So we said the Jets clearly favor bigger body receivers on the outside. Well, Denzel Mims fits that mold to a T. You guys remember back in his rookie year, I was one of the ones saying that what he was doing contested catch-wise, what he was doing with his point of attack and being physical with the ball, I was like, shit, this guy's got the making of a really good wide receiver. And then it fell off. But guys, so before this season, I was very much like thinking about all the great duos that the Jets have had in the past, right? Think about it. All the times the Jets were really great. Back when they won the Super Bowl, they had Don Maynard and George Sauer, a duo. Back in the 80s, they had Toon and Walker, a duo. I was going into this season thinking, man, our duo was Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. But you know what? If our duo is Garrett Wilson and Denzel Mims, I'm fucking cool with it, you guys. I am down and I am ready to roll. I am ready to start the Denzel Mims train. Like, put it in gear and send it on. Like, I am ready, man. If Mims wants to be the guy, he showed so much potential in his rookie year. I mean, he runs like 4.4 speed. He's 6'3", like 212? Something like that. He's got great ups, amazing verticals. He was what we thought our wide receiver one was going to be. If it's going to be Garrett and Mims, I'm fucking cool with it. And then you factor Corey Davis in. Those are three guys that can literally line up anywhere. All three of them can play in the slot. So, like Ant says right here, if Elijah Moore doesn't want to be part of it, Elijah Moore doesn't fucking have to be part of it. I can't get over the fact that like the other games, it was okay, he wasn't on the field. This time, it's like basically everyone questioned the Jets, right? Everyone's like, well, Elijah Moore is getting no targets. He's not on the field. Elijah Moore is getting no targets. He's not on the field. So what did the Jets do? I'm still fucking dying, you guys. I'm still fucking dying with this. What did the Jets do? They put Elijah Moore's ass on the field a lot. Like a lot. They showed him to us. And then they target him 0 times. Like, that's what the Jets did. So, man, that's Joe Douglas. If Joe Douglas is not saying, you son are in the shithouse, I don't know what else he could do. He literally put his ass on the field and they targeted him 0 freaking times. So, man, Corey Davis, what Denzel Mims has been doing lately, Garrett Wilson. Let's talk about Garrett for a second. Garrett is our wide receiver one. We've been wanting with wide receiver one for a very long time. So I've wanted a wide receiver one, and we've wanted a wide receiver one for a very long time. Garrett Wilson is that wide receiver one. Garrett Wilson is not just one of the best wide receivers on the Jets. Sorry, the best. I'm sorry. Garrett Wilson is not just the period, the best wide receiver on the Jets. He is on track to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Last week, he put up 116 yards, and he had that 54-yard beautiful bomb from Zach. Zach hit him beautifully. Garrett caught that. I was like, oh my God, I love it. Garrett had an 100-plus game, and this week, if we add 8 yards, Garrett has another 100-yard game. But more impressing to me personally, Garrett Wilson saw 9 targets. He hauled in 8 of them. Guys, that's the wide receiver one. He saw 9 targets and hauled in freaking 8. I mean, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver one, baby. So again, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver one, Denzel Mims, maybe even a wide receiver one, wide receiver two. He put up 76 yards the other day. He didn't have a huge game this week, but he played well. He did play well, even though he didn't have a huge game. So Corey Davis will be back soon. Man. So Sure points out, like Iowa says, Garrett Wilson, bro, Iowa. I appreciate you, bro. So I appreciate all you guys here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate you, man. I know great to see you in the chat. Great to see all you guys. Iowa Jet fan. Freaking awesome to see you guys. See all you guys. Garrett Wilson, man, he is so freaking phenomenal. He is so phenomenal. He is our wide receiver one. He is our top wide receiver. Garrett Wilson is unbelievable, you guys. He is, you guys remember, I freaking aided on him because I wasn't 100% sold on him at first. We talked about it. I went back and I told you, I saw that film. We talked about it. Not only was I very wrong, it's because I was looking at him in the wrong light. When I took that camera and I removed the Crystal Lame frames and I put on the new glasses, I was like, fuck. And we see it right now. Garrett Wilson, again, is not just the best wide receiver on the Jets, wide receiver one, period. He is on track to be one of the best wide receivers in the entire NFL. And Denzel Mims has looked freaking good because, again, like the Jets literally said, I'm not just saying this. They asked, remember, Robert Saleh just the other week, and I put it out on Twitter. He said with Corey Davis out, Denzel Mims will play on the other side. And he said he preferred bigger bodies in the Z. He said that. That was a fact. Robert Saleh said bigger bodies in the Z. That was a fact. So, Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, they're the wide receiver 2-3. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Braxton Berrios as your slot guy. So, man, I've talked to you guys about this before. I truly think that it's not just that they want Elijah Moore in this offense. And yeah, I do believe they want Elijah Moore to be a contributing part. I mean, Zach Wilson's a young quarterback developing. As many weapons as possible, please. That's the answer. So, of course, they want Elijah Moore to be part of this. But I do think, and we talked about this the other week, I think a part that no one's talking about for some reason is that Elijah Moore is not going to get you what Joe Douglas wants. He is not worth what you actually want for him. So Elijah Moore was the 34th overall pick just last year. That's basically a first-round pick. Let's be honest. 34 is basically a first. Elijah Moore, excuse me, Elijah Moore is all hype. That's what he is right now. He had a good rookie season, but that's exactly what he's done. He's had a good rookie season. That's it. Denzel Mims had a promising rookie season too. His ass was stashed at what last year? Wide receiver 95? I mean, as I pull the headphone out of my mouth. But man, Elijah Moore, unlike Denzel Mims paid his dues, right? Denzel Mims went to the bottom of the pecking order, and we thought, he was quiet. And because he was quiet, that wasn't good, right? Oh, we want Denzel Mims to make more noise. Well, Denzel Mims is a humble dude. We've learned that about him. He's a more reserved guy, and that's not a bad thing. He's paid his dues. He's sat at the bottom. He's now gotten his opportunities. Moore has opened his mouth. And again, the 34th overall pick just last year. No one, again, for a guy that's all hype. He's all hype. He's not proven right now. Teams don't want to give first overall picks for an Antonio Brown. He wasn't even signed at one point. Teams don't want headaches, let alone from a young guy, a guy that's just starting his career, who's on a team that's winning. He's on a team that's playing well, and they're winning, and they're all hyped. Everyone's hyped. Everyone in that locker room is hyped, and Elijah Moore is making bad noise. People don't want a part of that. No one's going to give Joe a 34th, let alone a 40 something. So that's the nasty truth of it too. If somebody called Joe Douglas right now and said, I will give you a 38, let's say, I'll give you the 38th overall pick for Elijah Moore, Joe will say, where do I sign? Thank you very much, sir. I will take that offer. That is a fact. So I don't think anyone's giving the Jets what Elijah Moore is actually worth. No one's going to give them fair compensation for, again, what was basically just a first round pick last year. No one's going to do it. So shout out to Iowa Jets fan. He says Mims is going to supplant Moore on the active roster. Moore is going to be a healthy scratch. Bro, if Moore is a healthy scratch, oh man, I don't know if you were here before when I pointed it out. I think this last game was the ultimate FU. Like that was, if Joe Douglas didn't say Elijah Moore was more in the doghouse, I mean, think about it. Like we just said before, in the Patriot game and all those other games, he was, well, not the Patriot game, sorry, he was inactive, but all the games before that, Elijah Moore was saying, I'm not seeing targets, I'm not on the field. And everyone's like, why is Elijah Moore not on the field? So what does Joe do? He puts his ass on the field and doesn't target him. We talked about that, man. That got me crazy. That got me, man, I was freaking hyped up. So appreciate all your guys' comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you guys have a thought or, you have a question or something, please let me know. But some other topics I definitely want to talk about. Excuse me. We mentioned the Jets passing game, right? Let's talk about the running game for a second. Let's talk about the fact that during the Patriots game, we didn't do that much running, but that's because we rushed I didn't look it up, but 14 times, I think, or like 12 times. Carter had 12 rushes alone, and Carter had 76 yards, guys. Michael Carter was freaking awesome. And James Robinson was an awesome two-punch to Michael Carter. But this, ladies and gentlemen, if you hadn't seen it, I put it out on Twitter because when I saw it, I was like, damn, this fact right here. So they interviewed James Robinson after the game, and his response was, I know Breece Hall is going to come back and be a great player, but me and Mike, we're going to hold it down for him. Me and him together, it's great. You can't stop it. And I'm like, oh, this is a guy that just got here. He just got here. And he's already saying, him and Michael Carter, you can't stop it. Man, that got me here. James Robinson, you guys know how I felt on that kid. That was a kid that was a hell of an undrafted rookie. He was, in fact, like we talked about, the fourth ever undrafted rookie in NFL history to ever run for 1,000 rushing yards in their rookie season. Fourth ever. Excuse me. So, James Robinson, I loved when we picked him up. You guys remember my take. I've always loved Joe Douglas. I've been a big Joe Douglas fan because he does a lot of the same shit I would do. And man, James Robinson, oh, when Joe did that, I was like, I love this man. That was literally my brain's reaction. I was like, I love him. Like, love the James Robinson pickup. He was supplanted by Travis Etienne. I was surprised they even drafted Etienne, but to be fair, he's more of a pass-catching back, and that's how they use him more dynamically in their offense. But man, I thought James Robinson could totally be the guy. After watching him his rookie year, I was very convinced that James Robinson could totally be the guy. I pointed out to you guys that I picked him up because someone on my fantasy team got badly hurt. And I looked it up. It was like week 2 or week 3, and all the hype in the running back conversation was James Robinson back in 2020. Everyone's like, James Robinson. They're like, this kid could be unbelievable. And I looked at what he did in college, and I was like, shit, I'm going to pick this kid up. And guys, you remember what we talked about? He didn't just play well. He carried my team. He carried my fantasy team to the playoffs, and yes, we lost. That is a fact. We lost, but he carried my team to the playoffs, and he's not even the lead back. Michael Carter is the lead back. So yeah, James Robinson got just as many carries as Michael Carter. So that would beg the question, who's the main back? But I got to say Michael Carter, man. Michael Carter's been here. He's always got the right attitude. Robert Saleh said it the other day. They said Michael Carter is the reason this room is so great. He's the reason our team has such great chemistry. He's one of those many guys. As we've talked about, Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas have brought the right guys in. And Michael Carter, just like Breece Hall, when he comes back, 100% those kind of guys. Man, Michael Carter averaged 6.3 yards a rush. 6.3. He was 4 yards shy of 80. And James Robinson was just a couple yards short of 50. In fact, they had about 120 yards just between the two of them. So, man, that's an emerging duo. And like James Robinson said, oh, that just got me to cloud 9 when he's like, I know Breece Hall is going to come back and he's going to be great. That's a fact. He's going to be great. But he's like, me and Mike are going to hold it down for him. You can't stop us. I was like, oh my God. Like, again, this guy just got here. And we know Michael Carter's made of the right stuff. So, man, these two together, again, they ain't Breece. And let's make that very clear. They are not Breece. But we have gotten lucky. We have an emerging duo between the two of them that will help carry our offense. And they played well, along with Zach Wilson, who played well. So again, we talked about Zach before. Zach played like using Robert Saleh's word, using Robert Saleh's one of his favorite words. Zach played big boy football. Zach played big boy football against the Buffalo Bills. He was smart. He was calculated. He made good decisions, and he took chances, but smart chances. He put the ball in good positions and allowed his receivers to make the play. We saw that ridiculous sidearm to Garrett Wilson. Yes, Garrett Wilson had to stretch out like Megatron to catch that ball. And guys, if you wanted Garrett Wilson, proof that he's the guy, how many people can catch a fastball on their knee. Like, what the shit? That thing came in there like a rocket from hell. And you guys remember we joked and talked about how Zach Wilson said Garrett Wilson can catch anything. Well, he put that shit to the test. He just rocketed it at Garrett, and Garrett caught it. Because, again, Garrett's catch radius is insanity. It is just insanity. Like Zach said, and like I've been saying, that was the one thing, if you remember, even when I wasn't a huge fan of him, that was the one thing I always said. With Garrett Wilson, just put the ball in his vicinity. He is a human highlight reel. His catch radius is insanity. So, man, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 1, baby. Wide receiver 1 every single day of the week. But Mims didn't have a big game, but he had a big one last week. Corey Davis should be back potentially soon. And we just talked about how good that running game is. How freaking good. Just again, Carter and Robinson alone had basically 120 yards. We had like what? I have to look it up exactly. We had like 12 or 14 carries, I think, in the Patriot game. We carried Michael Carter and James Robinson each carried the ball that many times. So, man, the running game was there. And without Breece Hall, like you guys pointed out earlier, losing AVT and Breece so many times in the past, right? So many freaking times in the past would we turn around and we'd be like, oh, well, we just lost our 2 best players. It's over, right? Oh, woe is me. But I talked about it, right? I challenged us. Remember I said Robert Saleh talked nothing about adversity. His whole conversation since he's been here has been about adversity, stepping up in adversity. Well, there's no bigger adversity than losing the staples of your offense. What do you do? And guys, trading for James Robinson was a big step. And what they did, the Jets offense played well against, like I pointed out in the beginning of the game, because I wanted to remind everybody, but it worked in our favor, that Zach Wilson and the Jets offense was going against the best overall defense, or considered the best overall defense, because we just freaking said Jets could be that defense, baby, but considered, they went against what was considered the best defense in the NFL, and they came out on top. Like we said, Zach Wilson played mistake-free football. He didn't have a huge game, but he had a hell of a better game than freaking Josh Allen. In fact, his rating was basically more than double. Zach Wilson had a really good, smart game, and he didn't get sacked much, considering, again, I felt Boyhi, again, against Von Miller. I will give him that, against Von Miller, but did not do a good job in any way, shape, or form of the word. I mean, I'm guessing if PFF gave him a decent grade, it's because he was going against Von Miller. So they graded on a curve. They were like, he deserves a 10. Oh, wait, he played Von Miller. We'll give him a 50. I don't know what he got, but I guarantee that was the freaking logic. Guarantee that was the logic. So shout out to Jim Pog. Jim Pog points out our offensive line versus Buffalo was pretty damn good. It was pretty damn good, again, minus Boyhi. And yes, he was against Von Miller. I will consistently say that because I will remind myself of that. You have to take it a grain of salt when you're going against one of the best pass rushers to ever play the damn game. But I've never been sold on a Boyhi, and you guys know that. But again, Max Mitchell and George Fant will be back soon. One of them, and you guys know my take, even if they're both ready, I want Max. I want the guy that's our future. Max, again, a 4th-round rookie. What he did in those first few weeks is crazy. It's crazy what he did. Literally crazy. I cannot believe how well he played, because we know later round offensive linemen are later round for a reason. They're not ready to go in the beginning. They're not ready to be thrown in the fire. And as we've talked about, and I've talked about before, because I'm a big offensive line guy, it's one of the few positions, because defensive edge rushers and interior linemen are so fast and so physical and so good at the NFL level that if you're not good and you're not ready, you will develop bad habits. You will develop bad habits that you may not be able to break, and that could end your freaking career. Well, Max Mitchell was great. He literally, like we talked about, had the game-winning block against who else but Myles Garrett, arguably the best pass rusher in the whole league. Against Myles Garrett, he had the game-winning block to set Flacco up to hit our boy Garrett Wilson, to hit Garrett Wilson in the end zone for the touchdown. So, man, if George Fant and Max Mitchell are healthy together, I want Max. I want Max next to Nate, because we know Nate's also a young guy. And you guys give me just one sec. Nate's also a young guy. I think he's 24 or at most. I'm going to look it up right now. think he's like 24 at most 25. He's 24. That's what I thought. He's 24. He's a freaking pup. He's another, like Joe Douglas said just the other week, he's another Joe Douglas find. Joe Douglas found him. Chuck. That's funny, bro. That's funny, man. Appreciate that. But Jinsei Max is a keeper, bro. Max is a find. Joe Douglas is that guy. You guys remember the first thing I loved about him the most was right after that 2020 draft, because that's when we signed him. That was the joke of it all. Remember, we joked about that. He didn't get free agency or any of that crap. They basically brought him in and they're like, here's your team. Right? So that was his first actual draft. So I was really excited. Again, it didn't pan out, but at the time, for the players he took, and we talked about that, he was drafting for Adam Gase's team, right? We talked about that for a while, and not enough people mention that enough. 2020 is an unbelievable outlier to the 2021 and the 2022 draft. These two drafts are freaking elite, like literally elite level. And as we talked about when Joe Douglas came in, Gase was the freaking king of the Jets, right? They made him freaking GM, everything. He was the literal president of the Jets, like he was freaking Bill Belichick, but he didn't deserve it. So he was like king of the Jets. I think he had a lot more pull than we think. And again, Joe, like actually we knew, because remember, Robert, after Adam Gase was fired, Joe Douglas, the owners pointed out, Woody Johnson said that the Jets were giving the keys to Joe Douglas, right? We remember that. That was a massive conversation, but that was after Adam Gase. So that clearly meant that before that, he didn't have the keys, right? Like everyone we talked about, yay, Joe Douglas is getting the keys. And I love that because you guys remember, I was calling for them to sell this freaking team. I'm like, Joe Douglas is the answer, and you guys have micromanaged his hands to his asshole. Right? That was my thing. Joe Douglas is the guy. He's 100%. You guys don't see it yet. We see it now. But back 2 years ago, you guys remember, I'm like, they don't see it yet, but Joe Douglas is going to be freaking great. And you have handcuffed him, and you have got to let him run this team. So when they gave him control and they handed him the keys, I was like, yes, you guys remember? That's when I was like, finally, I'll accept the Johnsons. If you give Joe Douglas the keys, and clearly we have seen what's happened, right? Go back to when Joe Douglas has gotten the keys. We have clearly seen what's happened with these teams. And these two drafts have been unbelievable. 2020 is before those keys. 2020 is a big Adam Gase, and you're not drafting for Robert Saleh's team if you're Joe Douglas. You're drafting for Adam Gase's team. So I do think we need to remember that. So Jim Pock points out, as of right now, we're in the playoffs. Dude, we're 6-3 right now, man. We're 6-3. We thought double-digit wins was crazy, right? Even I said that. You guys remember my take. I was like, this team, remember my literal take was this. I was like, this team can be awesome. This team can be great. And we can have a ton of wins. But I don't want to jinx it. It could go the other. It's a young team. So it was like, and I wanted to say they could have a lot of wins. But it's like, dare I say it? I mean, it could take a little while. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? We have 6 wins going into the bye. We're just 4 away from double digits. So we double that. We got 12 wins, man. We thought 10 was out of control. So, man, just we are 6-3. Like we talked about earlier. Let that sink in for a sec, right? Take it. Breathe it in. The New York Jets are 6-3. How amazing is that? Andrew says, shout out to Andrew. JD is the best GM we ever had. You guys know. You guys know well. And if you don't remember, I had that episode over a year ago, right? You guys can check it out. I had that episode over a year ago where I said all the reasons why Joe Douglas is a great GM. And I talked about from 2019 coming in last minute, trying to do things in free agency, even though he wasn't here for the draft or anything, talking about everything he'd done and all the moves from contracts to drafting to I knew. I was like, this guy gets it. He came from the Ozzie Newsome school of drafting. He got his freaking certificate, baby. He came from the Ozzie Newsome school of drafting. And we know what Ozzie Newsome did. Ozzie Newsome drafted some hella players, some hella Hall of Famers for the Baltimore Ravens. And what does he do? What was like 20-something years later on his way out? He gifts the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, the quarterback that you all know I wanted in 2018, that I was like, I'm going to get way too much shit for saying the Jets could take Lamar Jackson to 3. I was pissed with all that wide receiver crap. I don't know if you guys remember that. I was pissed that all Lamar Jackson be a wide receiver. And my reaction is, have you seen this man play quarterback? Have you seen him play? And you guys remember, in his rookie year, everyone was like, he's not a quarterback. I'm like, you will see. Everyone's like, he can't play in the pocket. Lamar Jackson throws the ball from the pocket and plays football as quarterback as good as anybody else on his best days. He is an excellent quarterback. I wanted him in 2018. I knew it was crazy that people would be like, you're out of control if you want him at 3, but that's what I wanted. I 100% wanted Lamar Jackson. And what does Ozzie Newsome do? He gifts the Ravens after all those years of Ed Reeds, of freaking Ray Lewis's. He gifts them Lamar Jackson on his way out. Here you go, my beautiful Raven fans. Here is your quarterback of the future. I loved it. And that's where Joe Douglas came from. So I knew, man. I knew for a while that Joe Douglas was a great GM. And I've been saying it. You guys know it. It's a fact. It is a fact. Iowa, I love that, bro. Iowa, and we're only a half a game out of the division lead. Oh, just let that sink in for a second. Oh, it gives me chills. We're only half a game out of the division lead. Robert Saleh talked all about closing that gap, right? It didn't work against the Patriots, but we know, let's be real. I hate to admit it, but the Patriots have a great system. It's why they've succeeded after Tom Brady. It's why guys like Matt Castle had a freaking fantastic year, and everyone's like, this can be an NFL quarterback. And then he sucked wind. There's a reason almost every Patriots coach that's ever existed cannot coach outside of the wings of Bill Belichick. It is because they have an unbelievable system. And it got us. It got Zach. Zach fell right into that system. And it got him. It got him good. We got screwed by that system. But man, we beat the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills have quality coaches. The Buffalo Bills have McDermott and quality coaching. And again, no one can say we fell into that win. Nobody can say the Jets fell into that win or didn't deserve that win or got lucky. Josh Allen tried. He just couldn't against the Jets defense. Our offense showed up against the best defense in the NFL. So if you guys hadn't seen it, I was on the show just the other day. I mentioned on Sunday with Italy Jet. It's a great show we do. They asked me what went wrong with the Bills. I had one response. The Jets. That's it. The Bills didn't do anything wrong. They played good football. Their asses got beat. So what happened to the Bills? The New York Jets did. And if the New York Jets can happen to the Buffalo Bills, they can happen to anybody. So get ready, NFL. We've been putting your ass on notice for a while. Get ready. So shout out to Kevin. Kevin says, I know this is looking forward, but can't imagine next year, everyone healthy, adding another draft class to this roster. We can be legit contenders next year if Zach Wilson can keep getting better. I've said before, and again, I firmly believe in Zach Wilson, but I'd be insane to say I know, right? I don't have a magic 8-ball. I can't shake the magic 8-ball that tells me that Zach Wilson is going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I truly believe, from my own evaluation, as we've talked about, for the things I look for, that's different than what other people look for. I love Zach. I truly believe he can be the guy, and he's going to keep learning. But like Sim said, and like I said, and like a couple of rational people said, he's in his 19th ever NFL game. He's going to have ups and he's going to have downs. I wanted it. We all wanted it. And I think it's because we wanted it so bad. We were so upset, but it was this reality. The truth of the reality was that we believed, because this team was so great around him, that everything was clicking and this team was so great, that he would automatically become great. And I saw it on Twitter, right? I literally saw some people saying this team is ready, but Zach Wilson isn't. Zach Wilson is the thing that's holding this team back. He is, but he's also a rookie playing in his 19th ever NFL game. Last week before with the Patriots was 18. It was, again, a hope. It was a hope, and I prayed with you guys. But Zach Wilson, like anybody, is fallible. And it's very possible I bite my tongue. I bite my tongue because I don't want it to happen. I don't want to bite it off. But it's possible that, again, Zach Wilson's going to have another bad game. He's a young kid. He's a learning rookie. He may, like last week, try to do some things he probably shouldn't do. The hope is, again, that he always learns from that. Like Kevin is saying, if he gets better, he can do that by learning from his mistake, not making the same mistake twice. That's what we talked about just the other week. The issue is what we all joked about, Sam Darnold syndrome, right? That's the issue. The issue is the Sam Darnold syndrome, that you make the mistake and then you keep going out and you keep making the same mistake. And that's when we go, flag on the flag. Flag on, like, wait a minute. No, that's Sam Darnold syndrome. Zach Wilson, like we said, made a lot of mistakes last week. Some really bad decisions, but they were just bad decisions. You take those out of the Patriots' performance, it was a damn good game. Garrett Wilson balled out. Tyler Conklin balled out. Denzel Mims balled out. Excuse me. He had over 350 yards against the Patriots offense. And everyone's like, oh, that was later. That didn't matter. Well, he clearly did it this week. He clearly, against the top defense, played better than Josh Allen. And we know for a fact that Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. And the Bills, supposedly, that's the key, right? The Bills supposedly are the best defense. So if Josh Allen is significantly better than Zach Wilson, and the Bills' defense is supposed to be better than the Jets, then this is so fucking promising. Because Zach Wilson had a much better, not a little bit, much better game than Josh Allen, and our defense shut him down. Again, you can't say Josh Allen was looking really bad and frazzled. He was trying. He was overplayed. That pick by Sauce Gardner. Let's talk about that pick by Sauce Gardner for a second. We know how great this kid can potentially be, right? I've said it before, and I stand by this because I thought about it. I've taken my time and gonna get to it. Give me one sec. You remember, I've taken my time and I've thought about it. I've truly thought about this, and I cannot think of any cornerback ever that has done what Sauce Gardner has done in the limited time he's done it in his first ever games. Like, name them: AJ Tyrell, Jalen Ramsey, even Revis. I love Revis. You guys know I'm a huge Revis fan. All of those guys, and Revis I think is the best, right? Revis is the GOAT. If Sauce is going to become the GOAT, it's over Revis. Revis is the GOAT in my opinion. But he didn't do what Sauce did in his rookie year. Nobody is doing what Sauce did. We talked about this. The numbers are insane. His his single coverage completion percentage is ridiculous. I think it's like 18 now. It's insanity. He is a literal island. His completion percentages every week are lower than throwing in the dirt. We talked about this, right? In Cincinnati, everyone was talking about the 1,000 coverage snaps without allowing a touchdown, which is great. Don't get me wrong. That's amazing. But I thought the completion percentage was a better stat, right? His career completion percentage in college was lower than what it is to throw it in the dirt, which means statistically, it was stupid to even try to throw the ball his way. You might as well just throw it in the dirt. And that is the literal definition of a shutdown corner. You literally can't define a shutdown corner more than that. It's not even worth trying to throw against him. Doesn't matter who he's playing. Well, we joked about it. Sauce is going against the best receivers in the NFL. He's going against the Jamar Chases, the Stephon Diggs, the best receivers in the NFL. He's going to struggle, right? We said that. I mean, fuck, and that's the whole point here. Like, we're like, he's going to struggle. It makes sense. Of course he's going to struggle. He's a rookie cornerback at the NFL level playing the best receivers in the league, the Tyreek Hills, the Jalen Waddles. Sauce Gardner has not only stepped up to the task, he is already putting up completion percentages at the NFL level lower than throwing in the dirt, which means as a 7-game rookie, it is already statistically stupid to even try to throw Sauce Gardner's way at the NFL level. And again, I cannot think of a soul. I cannot think of a soul that has done that before. So again, he's got a long way. Sauce Gardner is a rookie. He's got a long way to go. A long way to go. But what he's doing now, nobody has done this. No one has done the insanity that is Sauce Gardner. He is not just one of the best corners in the NFL. Sauce Gardner has the potential to be the greatest cornerback to ever play in the NFL. And that is my crazy take. Where I don't think that crazy. I'll be honest. I don't think that crazy. I truly do. I truly do believe that, again, not yet, but Sauce Gardner has the potential to be the greatest corner to ever play at the NFL level. And again, these numbers are insanity. What he is doing, it's crazy. It's crazy sauce. It's crazy sauce. It is literally crazy sauce. Because how is he doing this at this elite of a level already against it? We know who Stephon Diggs is. We know Jamar Chase is one of the best receivers in the league. All of these guys are the best receivers the NFL has to offer. And already Sauce Gardner's saying, what else you got? That's basically it. Sauce Gardner is already saying, okay, and what else you got? I love it, man. Sauce Gardner, there is nothing. There is nothing. Like Jin says, 7 games. Fantastic. There's not even a word. I love it, Jin Pak. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But there's not even a word. He has been beyond words. Again, just beyond words, because nobody. There is nobody ever that has done what Sauce has done in 7 games. It just doesn't exist. It's unfathomable. I would have expected him to be okay. If he was okay, we would have been okay about it. That's how difficult a job he has. It's insanity. Like you say, Jim Pak, just the sauce. I can't wait. I just think about the fact that one of the greatest corners to potentially ever play in the game, just starting out his career, is on the New York Jets. We get the privilege of watching Sauce Gardner grow, and we get to watch him every week shut down the best receivers in the league. For Joe Douglas ain't an idiot, for decades to come. Sauce Gardner is ours. And I remind myself every day that Sauce Gardner, we're going to watch him in front of our eyes become the greatest corner to ever play the game. 100% like you say, Jim Pak. It's exactly what I'm saying. And we got him. I remind myself every day, he's ours. We got Sauce Gardner. So Iowa points out, did you hear Sauce describe what happened on that final touchdown pass? It's the insane. It is, bro. It's crazy. He processes so much. I was watching that first video of him when he was describing the interception that he made, just the interception. I had to play it a few times because he was legit talking about like reading the. He's a smart dude. He obviously is. He knows what the hell he's doing. It's insane the amount of information he gleans and processes off of nothing but the receiver's eyes. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's clear. It's clear. It's obvious to us. And that's why we're so excited. We can see it. We can see the insane gift that is Sauce Gardner, what he is becoming right in front of our eyes. And he's ours. He's a New York Jet. Like Jim Pak said, we know he's shutting down. It's like the best receivers. It's like insane. It's like how many. Would you tell me before this year, you can tell me about a rookie just starting out that can shut down all the top receivers in the league? You would laugh at me. You would laugh. Sauce can do it. Sauce can do it. Again, they're showing him the best receivers in the league as a rookie. And like we were just saying, he's just scratching the surface. He's only starting. We're seeing him start, and he's starting at excellent. He's starting where most cornerbacks strive to reach. He's beyond the camera. He's starting up here. The potential is just insanity, just absolutely insanity. So there's one guy we haven't mentioned yet, and I really want to talk about. There's one guy that you guys know I'm a huge fan of. I'm an absolute huge fan of. And I've loved him since we brought him onto the Jets. And I've been waiting for him to get his opportunity. You guys have seen him before. You've seen him twice on this show because me and him, we've talked a bunch. And that man is Bryce Huff. You guys know me and Bryce Huff, we have a pretty good relationship. I talked to him back when he was with Memphis, and you guys have seen the tweets. If you haven't, I'm not as good with the whole receipts. I'll be honest. I'm not as good with the whole receipts, but I know some people can go back and trace the Twitter stuff. You can see back in his senior year, I was saying that he was an outstanding edge rusher. People were sleeping on him. He should be drafted in the later rounds. I thought it was a travesty that this man wasn't drafted. What he did in college was excellent. He should have been, at worst, a 6th round pick, in my opinion. At worst, potentially maybe a 4th or even a 3rd. I kept saying that year he's going to be better than Jabari Zuniga. Bryce Huff is going to be better than Jabari Zuniga. And people are going to see that. Man, Bryce Huff is unbelievable, you guys. So you've seen him. I've had him on the show twice. I've had him with us. He's joined us. He's an outstanding dude. I love having him on. I hope to have him on again sometime in the future. I really, really do. But he's a great guy. We had some great conversations the both times that I had him on. And if you guys remember, one of the biggest things I always loved about him was his get off. Right? I always kept saying for the years I was watching him, I was saying my favorite thing about Bryce Huff is his get off. His get off is fast, like ridiculously fast, like faster than everybody else, it seems fast. And I'm very happy because apparently ESPN Stats has proven that right. So if you hadn't heard, Bryce Huff, like Iowa points out, yeah, Bryce Huff is a freaking closer, man. Bryce Huff is a freaking closer. This dude is a pass rush specialist. And I think he could develop as a run guy. I think he could develop as a more time used 4-3 defensive end. I truly do. I think he could be more of a standard 4-3 end. I really do. I love his and all the potential of all the guys we have as 4-3 edges. We have Lawson. We have Huff. We have Jermaine Johnson. We have Clemens. We have so much potential out there. So much freaking potential. But man, Bryce Huff is unbelievable. And I've been saying for years, and you guys can see it on Twitter, I've been saying that Bryce Huff's get off is incredible. Well, man, I found out just the other week that Bryce Huff has the fastest get off in the entire NFL. In fact, the other one, and I'm going to bring it up right here. I want to get the exact number for you guys. Where are we? I had it up a minute ago. Okay. I think it's right here. Here we go. Okay. So Bryce Huff has a, here we go. So Bryce Huff has a 0.65 second get off. 0.65. For comparison, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, we said one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, right? Arguably the best. He has the next fastest 0.7. Bryce Huff has the fastest get off in the entire NFL, even faster than Myles Garrett. This man needs to be paid. Him and Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams, we've seen it. He had an unbelievable game this last week again with the against the Buffalo Bills. Quinnen Williams, forget Pro Bowl. Forget Pro Bowl. Quinnen Williams is having an all-pro season. All-pro season. Him and Bryce Huff need to be re-signed. These two guys need to get contracts and need to be long-term pieces for the New York Jets. I love it, Iowa. I love it. That's so funny, man. ESPN hasn't talked to my wife. Apparently, I have a pretty fast get off too. Bada bing. I wish I even knocked my headset out. I wish I had a drum set, right? Like a boom. That's funny, bro. Oh man, that is so funny. I love that. My wife says I have a fast get off. Hysterical. Hysterical, man. But oh man, just now I'm still thinking about that. But man, Bryce Huff, fastest get off in the NFL. And I've noticed that for a while. I've been noticing that since he's played at the NFL level. I'm like, man, this kid's get off is unbelievable. And it is. It is the fastest in the entire NFL. I kept saying when he got him as a rookie, he was an undrafted guy. Like all teams, you have to earn spots. Even on a shitty Adam Gase team. Even on a shitty 2020 Adam Gase team, you still have to earn your spot, right? He was getting opportunities. But my big take, especially last year in 2021, was that he's going to get opportunities, but he has to make the most of the limited opportunities he gets. And that's going to allow him to get more opportunities. That's how it works. When you're an undrafted guy or a later guy, you're lower on the pecking order, just like Michael Clemens for a second. And let's talk about that for a second. Let's pivot for a second because Michael Clemens is having an underappreciated year. That is a fact. Michael Clemens is having an underappreciated year. The reasoning is, and Robert Saleh said it the other day, that Michael Clemens is being asked to do all the dirty work. He's the guy, you see him on the interior of the line, the nasty, literally going up against the big, tough defensive nose tackles. He's not getting through, but he's contributing. He's a major, major reason that other guys like Bryce Huff, like Quinnen Williams, like Carl Lawson, he's a big reason that other guys are getting to the quarterback. Michael Clemens is having an underappreciated rookie year because, again, he's being used not as a pass rush guy, but he's doing all the dirty work. And if you go back and you watch the tape, he is doing the dirty work well. He is stepping up. So Michael Clemens, man, is paying his dues, just like Denzel Mims did. He's paying his dues. He's waiting his time. He's doing all that dirty work. I can't wait till his number's called. I can't wait till it's time. Okay, Michael Clemens, number's called, baby. Go over on the edge. Let's see what you got. See, he's doing all the dirty work now. But like Jim Pog points out, JJ's looking pretty sweet too. JJ had that great sack. JJ had that awesome sack of Josh Allen because he went after him, right? We have to remember, Allen was legit ways out of the pocket. Jermaine pursued his ass. Jermaine blasted through his offensive lineman and chased Josh Allen down. You guys remember, I love JJ. I thought JJ was arguably the best pass rusher in this last draft because I was talking about how the two guys above him, Hutchinson was more of a power rusher and Thibodeau was more of like a speed, finesse, spin around, athletic kind of guy. JJ was everything. Right? I kept saying how JJ was everything. I put up tons of footage of JJ bull rushing offensive tackles into quarterbacks while also on other plays doing like double spins and getting past offensive tackles and getting running backs in the backfield. JJ is special, man. And Michael Clemens, again, having an underappreciated rookie year, right? So Jim Pog points out, it looked like JJ was playing spy. That's a good point because I will say, you don't put an idiot at the spy. Right? You don't put a guy that ain't that smart. You don't put a guy that doesn't have good pursuit that can get after a quarterback on the spy. For example, I mean, you ain't seeing, again, I love Sheldon Rankins. You probably ain't seeing his ass on the spy. I mean, again, he's hurt. It's like, don't want to disrespect him. That's it. Don't want to disrespect Sheldon Rankins. He is hurt, which does suck. Sheldon Rankins is out. If you guys hadn't heard, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. That does suck. He was very good in this last game. But you guys know I'm a very big fan of Jonathan Marshall. I'm a very, very big fan of Jonathan Marshall. I really like what he did in college. His athletics is off the freaking chart. This dude is like #1 in bench press and then one of the fastest defensive linemen. Like his metrics were insanity. In his rookie game, right? The first game he ever played, his first ever NFL game in the preseason, he had the game-winning sack in that game. Remember, he had the game-winning sack. So I know Nathan Shepard's been playing pretty well. He's been, even though I'm not a fan, you guys know I'm not a fan of Nathan Shepard. I've never really have been. He has been playing well, though, so credit where credit's due. But I'd like to see Jonathan Marshall potentially get a shot. So trying to think on defense. We talked about Jordan Whitehead before, man. The safeties, if you guys remember, the safeties were not good in the beginning of the season. The safeties were struggling a lot, but they really came on. You guys remember, I was looking a little bad because I thought they were going to be really good. I was like, I don't get it. There's a veteran presence back there with LaMarcus Joyner and Jordan Whitehead. These are two veteran safeties that should jive together, play well together. LaMarcus Joyner, when he played safety at the NFL, he was really good. Jordan Whitehead was really good last year. What the fuck is happening? But the safeties have been really good. And Jordan Whitehead, man, that was a key interception. That first interception, again, can't stress it. That was a key interception. Again, the Jets botched that kickoff, gave the Bills really good field position. They get a 40-yard pass. It felt like an omen. I don't know about you guys. I was sitting there in that first minute. I was like, fuck. I was like literally thinking in my head, this is going to be a long day. That was literally my thought. This is going to be a long day. And then Whitehead gets that interception, momentum changer, right? Major momentum changer. And like we said, those Jets beat the Buffalo Bills. Our defense was absolutely awesome. The pass rush, and the Bills have a really good offense. The Bills have a quality offensive line. Our pass rush dominated it, was all over Josh Allen, and our secondary blanketed them. Our secondary didn't allow anybody to get open. So again, Josh Allen tried, and that's why the numbers are bad. Because like Zach Wilson last week, he tried to make something happen. Josh Allen was shut down by the Jets defense. Again, the pass rush was all over him, in his face constantly, chasing him all around, and there was nothing open. DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner, and let's talk about that duo for a minute. Let's talk about the duo of DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner. So, I do want to point out, because I love my Sauce. We were talking about him before. I love my Sauce. I love my Sauce on everything. Love Sauce, man. He is unbelievable. But at the end of the game, Robert Saleh was asked about DJ Reed, and he said, Sauce gets all the fanfare, and he's doing a great job, and he totally deserves it. But he said DJ Reed is playing Pro Bowl football. He said if you really sit down and watch the tape, and then he upped it and said he's playing at an all-pro level and every bit deserving of the praise that Sauce gets. And you guys saw the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, not top 10, they are top 5. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed are both top 5 cornerbacks. The Jets have the best cornerback duo in the entire NFL and 2 top 5 cornerbacks on their edges. And DJ Reed is still a young dude. He only had his first big season last week. So, one sec. I meant last year, not last week. Clarify that mid-sip. But DJ Reed had his first really big year just last year. He's a young dude too. And Sauce just started his career, like we were talking about before. Sauce Gardner is one of the best cornerbacks in the entire NFL. So appreciate it. Appreciate you, Jim Pock. Appreciate all you guys. But he is one of the best, and he's just starting his career. His potential, again, all corners dream of reaching it up to here. Like we said before, Sauce is starting here. He starts at this level. So his potential, best cornerback ever. That's the potential of Sauce Gardner, to be the best cornerback to ever play the NFL game. And we all, us Jet fans, we get the beautiful privilege of watching that happen. We get the beautiful privilege of watching that unfold right in front of our eyes. Right in front of our eyes. So, I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. There were a couple of guys I wanted to bring up. I mentioned Bryce Huffman. And again, we talked before, but he is majorly slept on. I want to give a shout out to Sean Bennett. Sean Bennett pointed out that Huff literally launches off his stance like a rocket. It was always the first thing I noticed about him. When I watched Huff play, the first thing I immediately noticed was his get-off. His get-off, especially for a guy his size. We have to remember that Bryce Huff is like 255 pounds. He is not a small dude. He's just about the same size as Carl Lawson, to give you an example, but he's a little bit taller. He's not a small dude. His get-off is insanity. I've always known him and saying that his get-off is insanity, but man, to know that Bryce Huff has the fastest get off in the entire NFL, even faster than Myles Garrett. There is no way we can't pay this man. We cannot afford to even let Quinnen Williams or Bryce Huff. I know we have Quinnen Williams locked up as a fifth-year deal, but we can't afford to let either one of those guys go anywhere. Those two guys need to be paid. I want, and I think all Jet fans agree, I want to hear that Quinnen Williams has gotten his extension and he's not just going to be around next year, and Bryce Huff has gotten an extension and he will not be testing out free agency. That is what I want to hear. So Sean Bennett points out Elijah Moore needs to be conjured up. He's a ghost. Bro, we were talking about it before. I think it's funny, man. And again, it just got me cracking up before. There is no better proof, and tell everybody, there's no better proof that Elijah Moore is in the literal doghouse than they put him on the field and still didn't target him. Again, that play, I'm telling you guys, when they had Elijah run around Zach, like, I wonder if they kept a straight face because they knew they weren't throwing him the ball. I wonder how they kept their straight face like Elijah, come here. I want you to do an audible. I couldn't do it. I'm like, I want you to do an audible where you run around Zach like you're going to get the ball. Pretend like you're going to get it. It's coming. I think it's coming. It just fucking kills me, you guys. He is such in the freaking doghouse that literally, like we said, everyone's like, well, Elijah Moore's not on the field. Why is he on the field? He's not getting targets. They put his ass on the field. They still didn't target him. He was on the field a lot. We saw him often again to that play. He literally ran around Zach Wilson, and then Zach hiked the ball and looked the other way. Like, he didn't even make fucking eye contact with Elijah. Like, there wasn't even a chance that the ball was even going to go that way. Man, just man. Like Sean said, just cracking up. It's so funny, man, to think about. Because if you think about it, it's true, right? That was everyone's argument. They're like, well, Elijah's not on the field. Elijah's not on the field. How are you going to target him if he's not on the field? So I have to laugh when I think about it. They put his ass on the field, and they still didn't target him. They were like, oh, well. But you guys know, we talked about it. The Jets clearly prefer bigger body receivers on the outside. We talked about how much I love Denzel Mims and how much a lot of people like Denzel Mims. If Denzel Mims and Garrett Wilson want to be that duo, you got Corey Davis as well, and you still got Braxton Berrios. The simple fact of the truth is, Elijah Moore, we would love for you to be a part of this offense. But the truth is that we don't need you. That is a fact. That is the truth. And the Jets showed you that by doing what they did to you this week. They showed you that we don't need you, especially to beat one of the best teams in the NFL. We don't need you. So Jim Pock points out, Shadow says, we may never get a penalty in our favor in the last 2 minutes of the game. Man, my biggest thing was that camera thing, right? Like, everyone always likes to say, we got lucky. There's no way anyone can say that. If anything, shit worked against us. That camera fall was a massive momentum changer, right? Our shit was going well. We were all excited. The drive was going well. I don't think it was planned. I think someone was joking on Twitter that, like, Bill Belichick's up in the rafters and he's cutting cables. I thought that was hysterical, but I don't think it was planned. It just sucks. The timing was bad, but you could say all the bad luck was against us. We had shit working against us, and we still stepped up. We still came. I keep saying came in. They came to us. We still had the Bills come to us, and we shut down one of the best teams in the NFL. I like Sean's. That's funny. Maybe that'll happen next year, bro. Later in the year, bro. Maybe at one point, like, you'll just see, it'll be like, I forgot, like, I think it was like that. You guys remember, I don't know if you guys watch Friends. You remember the Friends episode where Rachel can't catch the football one, the Thanksgiving football one, where Rachel can't catch the football. So they always send her out, but no one's on her. So they decide at the end of the game, because no one's on her, let's try to throw to Rachel. Rachel is going to be Elijah Moore. That is what Sean is saying here. That Elijah Moore is going to be Rachel from Friends. He's just not going to be targeted to the point where no one covers him. He's going to be standing out there like Rachel was, like looking at the rain and like playing with her gum. That's going to be Elijah Moore because, again, his ass was out there. He was out there a lot but he didn't get targeted. Even guys, I'm telling you, if you get a chance to rewatch the game, watch that play where Elijah Moore literally plays like run around the merry-go-round with freaking Zach Wilson. Zach doesn't even look at him. When the ball is hiked, Elijah's here. Zach immediately turns to the left, never looks past the middle. He doesn't even make eye contact with Elijah Moore. Like, that shit just cracked me up. Like you said, Sean, there is no way he is not in the doghouse. Just no way. So I don't know if you guys had any facts you wanted to bring up, any players you wanted me to talk about, or one guy that doesn't get enough credit. I don't think he had a great game. I want to say that. He didn't really have that good a game, but he's contributing. I want to shout out Vinny Curry a little bit, because Vinny Curry does a little bit every game, but he's a leader. He's a leader and a mentor. And guys like Carl Lawson, guys like Jermaine Johnson, guys like Michael Clemens can talk to him. They can go to Vinny Curry. And Vinny Curry, we saw it in the offseason. Dude's an open book. He actually likes coaching. And I think that was a big reason they brought him in. He likes coaching, and he likes to talk to the young pups about what he sees and what he thinks they should do or shouldn't do. I like that about him, and it's not like he's not contributing. So I think all of that is, again, part of the reason Jets traded away Jacob Martin. Because you heard earlier, just earlier in the week, they were asking the Jets, well, why the hell has Bryce Huff been inactive? Robert Saleh's answer was, it's hard to dress 10 linemen. That was his answer. He's like, we love Bryce Huff, and every week we're like, fuck, we got to figure this shit out. He said every week we're like crunching numbers and pulling the calculator tab. We're like, shit, how do we make this work? They couldn't. So it makes sense. You trade away Jacob Martin. Get something for him. They got something for him. They moved up around. I'll take it. They moved up around, but now Bryce Huff gets to eat more. Carl Lawson gets to eat more. You saw Jermaine Johnson play. He's going to get to eat more. And Michael Clemens, guys, is doing all the dirty work. I'm telling you. Go back to the film. I was specifically look at 72 when he was playing. Go back to the film. You're going to see him in the middle of the line, eating up the line so that other guys can break the edge. He is literally doing, like Robert Saleh said, all the dirty work, but he's doing it well. So that tells you, when his number gets called, just be ready. Just be ready. Michael Clemens is not away. He's dormant. That's how you want to look at Michael Clemens right now. He's dormant, doing all the nitty-gritty, working his way up that depth chart. You're going to see Michael Clemens. Don't you worry. You're going to see Michael Clemens. But right now, it's middle of the line, eating the giant defensive lineman, which, again, is so promising, because Michael Clemens is like a bull in human form. I mean, the fact that we're going to take this edge rusher and put him in the middle of the line and have him literally eat space of the biggest defensive guys in football so that other guys can eat. That's what they're doing. That they wouldn't do that if Michael Clemens wasn't an unbelievable athlete and unbelievably physically strong. So, man, he's going to get his opportunity. But Lawson's feasting. Huff is feasting. Jermaine Johnson's feasting. Gotta love it. Michael Clemens is in that mix. Michael Clemens in that mix, and just wait for it. He's waiting. He's coming. He's coming. So I appreciate all your guys' comments on if you guys wanted to, again, bring any certain topics up or anything you wanted to ask. Or we talked about, how the Jets defense, like, you gotta just Buffalo. Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So if Josh Allen is literally one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, what they did to him, not all defenses can do that. Not all defenses go. Again, DJ Reed, when they asked him, DJ Reed said he truly believes that this is, DJ Reed said he truly believes that this is the best defense in the entire NFL. And I got to give it to him. So Iowa Jet fans asking CJ Mosley, will he restructure again? That's an interesting question. So let me look, because they've restructured him already to the point where I'm not 100% sure what the money is off the top of my head. So let me open this up right now and let me take a look here. So CJ Mosley in 2023 is going to make a lot of it is in his base salary. That's the thing. A lot of it is in his base salary, but there's so much in dead cap. It's tough. I mean, you got to look at it as you already restructured him once, right? You already restructured him once. It was smart. You did that restructure so that there's more money open in this year, and there's potentially still an out at the end of this year. But I really like him. I know some people have talked about potentially moving on from CJ Mosley. I think he's a really crucial part of this defense. And I get the reason people talk about it is they say, yes, he's extremely expensive. And yes, he's still a quality player. Don't get me wrong. CJ Mosley is still a really quality player. But we saw this week what Jamien Sherwood could be, right? Jamien Sherwood, as a rookie last year, was forced to step into the Mike linebacker position. And he impressed. He impressed last year to the point, if you guys remember, my guy was Hamza Nasruddin. I'm like, I like Sherwood, but forget him for a minute. I'm all on the Nasruddin train. Then I saw Sherwood play, and I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. He looks like a damn good middle linebacker. And he stepped in this last week, and I thought he played well also. He only played for a small amount of time. And again, CJ Mosley is such a crucial part of this defense. Every week, he leads our defense in double-digit tackles. He had a career year last year, like Sean points out. Exactly. So I'm pivoting like you, man. Yes, but CJ Mosley is a field general. It's CJ Mosley. CJ Mosley is the leader of this defense. There's a reason every week when our team takes the field, CJ Mosley is one of the captains that addresses them. He addresses them every single week, and he's always got something to say. Man, I absolutely love to watch CJ Mosley hype like speeches before games. His hype speeches are amazing. He has some of the best hype speeches there are. Again, I get people say he's on the plus side of 30. He's not getting any better. He's good, but he's not going to become any better. He's not going to be that elite player that he was. And again, I also look at what Jamien Sherwood could be, right? I do really like Jamien Sherwood. So like Sean says, that's kind of it. And that's the way people look at it. They're like, well, he's still a great player, right? He came back in the game, and bro, he laid that hit. You guys saw it. I put it out on Twitter. The second he comes back in that game, he lays the running back out. He shows that guy his ancestors. Like, he murdered that dude. CJ Mosley is a team first player. He always does what's necessary, puts his body on the line, outstanding tackler. But again, I guess at the same time, we look at, well, our future on the outside is Quan and Quincy, man. Quan Alexander and Quincy Williams look like an unbelievable outside linebacker duo. Those two guys fly all over the field. They're outstanding tacklers. They're good in coverage, and they murder people. They hit people. Like, both of them are literal wrecking balls. You guys remember my joke. I'm actually kind of terrified. Forget joke. I'm afraid that if Quan Alexander and Quincy Williams hit the same person at the same time, they die. Like, I'm legitimately convinced of that. That if the two of them hit the same person at the same time, just dust. Like, that's it. They just exploding, nothingness. They are wrecking balls. They are all over the field. They're excellent tacklers. They're huge hitters, and they're both really good in coverage. So there are obviously Quan's. I want to knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. Quan's been able to stay healthy. The big question for Quan is, can he stay healthy? Right? I love it, Sean. The Bash Brothers. Love it, bro. I like that name. I like that, bro. I like that. Quincy Williams and freaking Quan Alexander, the Bash Brothers. I like that, bro. I like that. Because when they hit people, man, they freaking murder people. Those dudes are literal wrecking balls. So the biggest thing with Quan was showing health, right? The biggest thing with Quan was, can you stay healthy? Because we know when you're healthy, you're one of the best linebackers in the game. Can you stay healthy? Well, again, I don't want to jinx it. Like I said, I'm a quick sip of water. I don't want to jinx it. But if he stays healthy, him and Quincy Williams are definitely our future at outside linebacker. So Jamien Sherwood showed that he can be the guy. Again, playing that middle linebacker position next to those two guys against the Bills, it was only a little bit, but in that little bit, he looked good. And he also looked good last year as a rookie. Next year will be his third year. Same thing with Nasruddin. If we're going to see what Nasruddin and what Sherwood can be, it kind of does have to happen in that third year. We need to see what we have. So I love CJ, and don't get me wrong. I love CJ Mosley. I think he's an outstanding leader. But like you guys said, he's not as fast as he used to be. He does make some mistakes sometimes, and he's older. He's not getting any younger. Could potentially the Jets choose, because like you guys mentioned, do have to plug my computer in, the battery's getting a little dead. Here we go. The plug came out. It's over here. I thought it was plugged in. I thought we were plugged in, but I guess not. I guess not. There we go. But Matt, don't get me wrong. I love CJ Mosley, right? CJ Mosley is the literal leader of our defense. He's an outstanding player, team first guy, excellent motivator. I love the guy. But like we said, Sherwood, Nassourdine going into their third years next year. Quincy Williams and Quan Alexander are the outside linebackers. If you want to potentially let's look like we look at CJ Mosley's contract, where we were right here. You would get a $15 million dead cap, but you save almost $21.5 million. That's a ridiculously large amount of money. So again, I'm not saying CJ doesn't deserve that. Please don't think that at all. I'm not saying CJ doesn't deserve that. But if you believe Sherwood can be the guy, right? He showed what he could be in his rookie season, and that wasn't with Quan Alexander. In this game, he only played a little bit, but with Quan and Quincy next to him, he looked good. He looked like he could be a middle linebacker. If you want to roll with him, you can free up a lot of money that you could potentially use on signing somebody else. There's so many different options to go, right? I don't know. Name your poison, right? There's so many different things that you can do with that money. So it's an option. I will say that to you guys because you brought that up. That is an interesting question. And if you guys have any other questions, let me. So Sean points out, knowing JD, he'll be fishing for a middle linebacker in the draft. Most definitely. Dude, JD is a draft guy. That's why he took Sherwood and Nassourdine when he did. And he still went out and got Quincy Williams. And he went out and got Quan Alexander because he knows talent is talent. You want talent at every position you can get it, but you want to draft guys. And Joe Douglas is a good drafter. He has proven he is a damn good drafter. And you guys know it's one of the things I love about him. One of the things I love about Joe Douglas is he is an outstanding drafter. So give him a third, a fourth, a fifth, even a sixth round pick. I'm excited to see who he's going to take. So yeah, he's totally looking at positions because again, he's going to approach the draft as what positions do we need more talented bodies in? Well, he'll definitely go middle linebacker. Heck, if he doesn't think Sherwood and Nassourdine could be the answer, he can go with an outside linebacker too. Potentially. He'll probably go with an interior defensive line guy again, right? He might take another cornerback because we have outstanding quarterback play with Sauce and DJ and Michael Carter. But you can always use another body. So that's the beauty of it, right? Just thinking like Joe Douglas. When your team is stacked, your draft is a luxury, right? Think about that. Think of if your team is so good, your draft is a luxury. You're drafting like, well, we have all this awesome talent at this position. Let's draft somebody young that can learn, right? Let's draft somebody young that has potential. So like I was saying the same thing. We're definitely getting a defensive tackle at some point, without doubt. Joe Douglas, that could be a position he takes too, right? He's done that with linebacker. Maybe next year, Joe Douglas takes 2 interior defensive linemen. What did he do this year? He took 2 edge rushers, a position that we desperately needed. Hell, next year, maybe he takes 1 edge rusher and 2 interior defensive linemen. The point is, again, you're drafting at a luxury point, hopefully at that point. You're drafting not to build your team, to complement your team, to fill it out, to make it even better than it already is. So I do need to get going. It's been an awesome time with you guys, and I love talking with you guys. We've literally been talking for like almost 2 hours. I fucking love it, man. Absolutely love it. It's been almost 2 hours. Absolutely love you guys. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys. I truly appreciate that you guys tune in on your Monday evenings, that we get to talk about the Jets, you and me. I get to share my takes with you. We get to go back and forth. Love you guys in the comments. Please always share what you're thinking. And you guys out there, if you haven't yet, I'm always interested in what you're thinking. Please share your thoughts, your concerns. Remember, like I always joke, you can disagree with me. You can tell me you think I'm out of my fucking mind. Just, tell me why and we'll talk about it. We'll have a conversation. So Sean's got a nose in there. So Iowa points out, for sure, linebacker and safety are definitely on the table. So many things, right? So many things. We're building this team up. But again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I truly do. I really appreciate all you guys being here. Love talking to you guys all the time about the New York Jets. Again, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, again, like I mentioned, I try to bring you guys as much content as I can when I can. I want to, bring you stuff all the time, but I do work a lot. So I try to bring you content through the week. And then I also, have this live show. So the live show is Monday. Please tune in. Please be a part of it. But I try to bring you guys content throughout the week as well. If you can please subscribe if you haven't. And if you could also reach out to your friends as well. Anybody who hasn't subscribed, if you can get them in, I definitely appreciate it. Trying to build up my subscribers. I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. I love these conversations. Thank you for being here. Hopefully we get another win, right? I mean, we got we got to buy. You know what? I'm so excited. I don't even care. I don't even care if buy is coming up. Like, I'm so hyped. It's like, fuck it, we're winning again. We're winning bye week. Let's go. It's W bye week time. Let's do it. So again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for being part of the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. I'll see you guys next Monday. Look forward to talking to you. Have a great rest of your week. And remember, our time is here, man. We're 6-3. We beat the crap out of the Buffalo Bills. Our time is here, man. We are here. We're ready to go. We're going to the playoffs. We're kicking ass. We're taking names. It's our time. Let's go, Jets.